Hello, everyone. I'm playing a song right now that I love. I'm obsessed with. Give me a few seconds. I lost something. Give me 1 minute. Oh, wow. Can you guys hear me? Woo! What a journey. Hello again. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Hi. Settle in. We've got a few minutes. Enjoy this song. Can you guys hear the song? Can you hear the song? Let me know. The best song in the world right now. Enjoy it while we wait for people to join. The song. I'm going to type the song. In my heart, I know we are light. Together we are home. It's like my favorite song right now. Woo! So much energy. We're doing it, you guys. Settle in. Hi, everyone. I'm just giving it a few more minutes. Put your dinner away. I feel light, lighting our way home. I see light, essence of my soul. I am light, in my heart I know we are light, together we are whole. Nope, this is not the replay. This is live. Welcome, welcome. I lost my microphone thing. No microphone. Settle in. We've got good information and energy coming in for us today. So welcome. Welcome, you beautiful beings. You courageous, beautiful beings of light. You deserve a round of applause for all your work in this lifetime and in all the lifetimes that you've been in physical form. So thank you for everything you have done. Everything. All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm starting a little bit early, but that's just the day that it has been. I just did a live guided journey on my Patreon, and I got cut off. Let's see, I think I went about 26 minutes, and then the video cut off, and I was still in the journey channeling, and yet the whole community saw a blank screen, and I went on for about 16 more minutes. So the energy nonetheless is extremely high right now. And I wanted to come on for a couple of reasons. I wanted to share a really powerful message that the Galactic Federation of Light gave me. I wanted to just be with you all and share this time with you. And provide some information and some guidance on what's going on and what we're stepping into. So I first just want to remind everyone, and today is, not that it matters, but I think it's December 29th. Yeah, for me in California. And we are propelling into this 2020 vision, clarity, new year, right? This new timeline that is already open for us and that you have opened. So many of you have done the work, whether you are aware of it or not, to open this new high frequency portal or game that we are stepping into. And the Galactic Federation of Light was showing me this as a game, a new game. And there's nothing wrong with a game, right? It's just a metaphor for this earth experience and this earth experiment. And it's a really good analogy because it's all a matrix within a dimension. So whether it's a third dimensional matrix, a fourth dimensional matrix, or a fifth dimensional matrix, right? It's all, we are playing in it. We are abiding by the rules of that dimensional consciousness. And yet we are in a physical form navigating it, right? As a higher dimensional being. So we're in a matrix, we're in a game, and we're figuring it out and we're remembering. And what is happening right now. And when we say now, when the Galactic Federation says now, or when any higher dimensional being says now, now is relative to your now. And it can be a now 6 months ago and a now 6 months from now, right? But what has been occurring is a massive shift from one game that we've been playing for a very long time into a completely new game, a completely new way of being, a new way of seeing, vision. Right? 2020, we're stepping into 2020. 2020 is clear vision, clarity, seeing, finally seeing without the density and the fog, right? Being able to remember, I call it remembering, but they're calling it, the Galactic Federation of Light is calling it clarity, seeing. And right now in your now, the strongest message that's coming through is love, love, love for yourself, love for your human journey, compassion for yourself, compassion for your human journey right now, right? That there is nothing wrong with what you have experienced in your life other than the fact that we live in a consciousness, a field, dimensional field that is that plays in duality. So when you look back at your life or in a now moment, you may experience it through the eyes of duality. So the ego in a 3D field is going to see your reality, and it's going to dictate what is occurring through a dualistic lens, which means that there is a right and a wrong, a good and a bad, a positive and negative, feels good, doesn't feel good, right? That's just part of this matrix and dimensional field we're in. There's nothing wrong with it. But it is the game that we have been playing and living in. So lots of people will say, well, I was abused as a child, or I abused my child. How do I look at that as okay? You look at these experiences that you have had and that you are currently having. You begin to look at them through the eyes of the observer. So you're no longer looking at your nows or your past life journey, the game you've been playing, through the lens of the ego and personality. It's an aspect of you. It's a beautiful aspect of you, and it's led you to this now moment. But the ego and the personality, the part of you that has conformed to this game, this 3D game you've played, it's not going to lead you in the new game. Okay? The higher self is going to lead you. So we are practicing in this kind of moment right now where we're jumping into the next game. We are, hold on a second. Okay. We are practicing how to be the observer, right? And so when you become the observer, you are detaching from duality. You are detaching from the 3D matrix. Okay. You are recognizing that it was all arranged and created by you. You being the higher dimensional being, the soul, the light, however you want to frame it, or whatever words you want to use. Okay. When we start recognizing what is occurring right now, the shifting of one game into the next, right? So the Galactic Federation of Light said, okay, here's what's going on. You have been playing a game as you've been continuing to increase your frequency, and this game holds rules. It holds ways of being, right? It's a consciousness field, dimensional field, and so it has a way of being. When you are in that game, you play. You play certain ways, right? There is duality, there is victim mentality, there is fear and anger and rage and blaming and planning and all the things that we have done for so long in that 3D field. There's nothing wrong with this game. Nothing wrong with the game. It was part of the plan. You agreed to come into it. You agreed to play in it. You agreed to all of it. We forget. And so because we forget, as we start waking up, we get angry with ourselves. We get upset with ourselves. We continue to blame other people, right? We are still in the egoic structure dictating our reality, telling us and not labeling, but the ego is what is creating and allowing us to understand this reality, which is shifting. Many of us are not experiencing our reality that way anymore. We are experiencing our reality from the observer perspective, which is the higher self. And even beyond that is the light being inside of you, right? And when you start doing that, you start to recognize, oh, there's no right or wrong to any of this. This was all designed by me. And if you're not there yet, that's okay. There will come a moment and a now where you will be there. You will be able to experience this because this is part of the ascension journey. You will wake up out of this game and you will recognize all of what you have been going through and are going through right now is the shifting from one game to another game. And here's what they wanted me also to share with you. They want you to see it as, imagine you're running a marathon, okay? And you don't know what a marathon is. You have no idea. All you know is that someone said, put shoes on, get some water, have some little, like snacks to eat, and you're going to start to run. That's all you were given. Oh, and by the way, you have people on the sidelines that you won't be able to see, but they're cheering you on. Okay, cool. So you put your shoes on, you got your little water bottle, and off you go without knowing where you're going and how long you're running. Okay, that is you as a light being dropping into physical form, understanding, right, that you are in the ascension journey, in this ascension path, and the human aspect of you can't see. The human aspect of you, which is the ego, the personality, that aspect of you has no idea where you're going. Okay. From a higher perspective, you understand that this is a marathon and that you are running, and there isn't necessarily an end, so to speak, but there is a purpose to it. It has a purpose. There is a path that you're doing. There's a reason for it all, right? There's a reason you came into physical form. There's a reason that you chose to start waking up and in this ascension path and process and journey. So off you go running, and 10, 15 miles in, you're like, what the freak is this? Why am I doing this? Maybe your feet start to get sore. Maybe you need to rest. Maybe you need water, right? But you still have no idea what you're doing. And it's not getting easier, right? You sometimes have euphoria and like the serotonin kicks in and you're like, oh my God, this is so great. And then all of a sudden the next mile, you're like, what the freak am I doing? Why am I still running? And then what does the human do? The human beats themselves up. Apparently I'm not doing it fast enough. I'm never going to get there. I'm doing it wrong. I have the wrong shoes on. My feet are sore because I must not know how to run the right way because other people are running right past me. We start to beat ourselves up and we start to make our journey wrong, like we have been doing something wrong. And yet, from a higher perspective, you're doing it all perfectly. You are running the marathon you agreed to come down into and run. And each of you have your own journey, your own experiences, your own now moments. And it's part of the process. It's part of ascension. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with wherever you are and whatever you're experiencing. What makes it wrong is duality, which is the 3D field that your body is still standing in. That's what makes it wrong. I don't want to feel this. I don't like this. Other people are in different places. There's something wrong with me. I did these horrible things. How am I going to forgive myself? These people did horrible things to me. How am I going to forgive them? I don't have the courage to shift out of this. I'm never going to be able to leave my job. All these things, right? If you take a bigger perspective and understand what's actually occurring, you will soften. Oh my God, what if this is all perfect? What if this person is leaving my life right now because I need to be able to shift into this next game and I can't with this person? And I didn't have the courage to leave them, so they left me. Instead of, why did this happen to me? What is wrong with me? No one's going to love me, right? You start to step into the observer and say, wait a second, I remember what's happening. I'm in a game. I am playing this out perfectly. It's not easy, quote unquote easy. It's not always fun, right? Running a marathon isn't necessarily fun at times. But if you know that you're running the marathon, you're not going to stop. You're going to keep going. And you're not going to beat yourself up. For instance, mile 16, you've got a blister and you stop on the side of the road and you fix your blister. Right? You fix the blister and then you get up and you keep going. In this reality right now, this is what the blister looks like. You are feeling certain emotions or watching certain thoughts or behaviors or patterns play out, and you have a pause, right? And you're experiencing it, you're feeling it. But instead of just allowing it to be by loving it, oh, look it, this is just coming up and I'm going to love the hell out of it because it's just my experience as a human being. It's just my experience as a human form. It's just my experience. If you see it like that, love it like that, observe it like that, then you'll just continue going, regardless of what comes in, right? The blister comes, you just fix the blister and keep going. You love the blister and fix it, right? So that you can keep going. What we do is we get stuck and we dwell on it and we make it us. I am this pattern. I am these emotions. I am this issue. I am this relationship. I am these programs. I am these limiting beliefs. I am these things. There's something wrong with me. I'm in this. There's something wrong with me. I'm in this. That would be like you running a marathon, sitting down and saying, well, apparently I can't run because I have a blister and I created this blister. And now I'm just going to sit and wait for the blister to stop because I don't know how I'm going to be able to keep going. Right? I'm done. I'm stuck. And then you just sit and you're in it. Right? Instead of observing and saying, oh, wait a second. Hold on. This is the human journey. This is the human journey I'm in. This is the game I'm playing. This is a game. Okay. This sucks. I don't like it, but it's consciousness and it's energy. I know that. I know it's consciousness and I know it's energy. And I know that I'm just experiencing it and I'm not it. Okay. I know that I'm courageous to be experiencing it. What a trooper I am to be experiencing it. Holy shit, why did I choose this? I don't know when it's going to leave, meaning I don't know when it's going to shuffle out of me or move out of my reality. But what I do know is that I am not it, that it's part of my human experience in this now moment, and I can love it. And by loving it, through the observer and not duality, I can move through it. That's what we're being asked to do right now. In a nutshell, all of us, whatever it may be. Massive amounts of old game is coming up over and 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 then over. So that we can learn to be the observer. This is all training us, you guys. We're being trained. You can't just jump into this new game. You have to know how to play in the game. You have to understand how to play in this new game. That's what we're doing right now. We're learning how to play in the new game. We're getting the instructions right now. Here's the instructions. Here you go. The instructions are, you don't beat yourself up anymore. You don't hate yourself. You don't tell yourself that you're doing it bad or wrong or there's something bad happening to you. There's something wrong with you. That's the first thing. You start to observe your human journey through the eyes of your higher self and the being of light that you are with love as much as you can. Holy shit, pat yourself on the back. The freak. Pat yourself on the back. Instead of beating yourself up. You can't move into the new game if you're continuously beating yourself up. That's the trick. You got to love yourself through the shit as you're getting to the new game. It's not easy. I have to love myself through the old addictive behaviors that are trying to pop up and say, hey, do you still want to do this? No, I don't. I love the aspect of me that played in that for so many years. I love the aspect of me that chose that. I'm having compassion around the fact that I am struggling with that perhaps, but I know that I'm running that marathon. I know that I'm stepping into this new game. I know that it's occurring. I know that it's happening. And the only thing I have to do is recognize that, observe it, and take duality out of it. How often are you judging? How often are you judging? Think about it. How often do you judge? How often do you beat yourself up? How often do you get upset with yourself? Get angry with yourself? Compare yourself? And what can you do to soften into yourself more? The journey that we did today, that we half did today, my Patreon community, was about allowing ourselves to be surrounded by the beings of light that are surrounding us on the sidelines, cheering us on, and feeling that deep, deep love and honor for the journey that we're in, for the journey that we're in right now, the waking up process. This waking up is intense. The clearing the eyes of the density is intense. And yet every single one of you are doing it, regardless of what your reality looks like out there. You're still running the marathon if you hurt yourself, right? If you're dehydrated or if you need food, you're still running the marathon. You just provide yourself with what you need. You take care of yourself, which means you love yourself through the emotions you can't stand. You love yourself through the behaviors and the addictions that you are still trying to love out of your reality, love out of your now. You find the courage to give yourself a hug when you don't have the courage to leave a relationship yet. You give yourself a hug and you have compassion and love for yourself when you can't leave your job yet. That's running the marathon. You can try to run it by having a very mean what do they call those people that are the coach, right? Who's like, just get up, suck it up. Who cares if you're hurt? Who cares if you're dehydrated? Get up and keep going, right? We all have that voice in us. Suck it up. Who cares? Keep going. And you're like, but all I want to do is rest. All I want to do is wrap my arms around myself and remind myself of how amazing and courageous I am and how beautiful I am. And that there's nowhere I need to be, right? Yes, it's a marathon in terms of the analogy, but there's nowhere to go. It's all now. It's all here. It's all in this contained sovereign space. The more you remember that, the more you flow, the easier it becomes. Catching yourself in the duality, catching yourself in the judgments, trying to force yourself out of something when you're just not ready yet. Trying to force yourself into something when you're just not ready yet. But you think you need to because that's what everybody is telling you to do, and that means that you're shifting into higher states of consciousness. What if shifting into higher states of consciousness was just loving the freak out of yourself in whatever you're in the now? Because no matter what you're going, you're shifting, you're increasing vibration, you're increasing consciousness, you're evolving. It doesn't matter. You're doing it. And the more you can stop putting pressure on yourself and recognizing that you're moving from one game to the next, especially right now, regardless of what aspects of this game are popping up, and you surrender and soften into, I deserve more love, not less. I deserve more love, not less. I deserve more love, not less. You will flow. You will literally flow through every unconscious pattern, unconscious belief, uncomfortable pattern, uncomfortable belief, uncomfortable emotion. I deserve more love. I deserve more love. I deserve more love. I can't leave this person yet. I deserve more love. I chose to be in this partnership and in this relationship, and I know that it's not for my highest good, and I know there will be a now moment where I won't be in it. That's it. Any experience you're having. Nobody can do this for you but you. Nobody can shift you into this observer mode but you. Nobody. You know this. You know how to do this. This is what you're here to do. This is why you're in physicality, is to become the observer, is to separate out of duality, is to become a neutral field, and to love yourself as you are or are not in that space. It's not about talking about it. It's about being it. And I just want to remind you, or the Galactic Federation of Light wants to remind you, none of this would be available for us right now, meaning these new timelines, this massively powerful timeline, if it wasn't for all of you. All of you, as light workers and way showers and starseeds, whatever word you want to call it. If it wasn't for you being in physicality right now and all the other lifetimes that you were in physicality assisting the earth and humanity, we would not be able to be doing what we're doing right now. You prepared us all. You did this. You allowed for all of this. You're just in a lifetime where you're remembering it, and you're remembering it much faster. And that remembrance is chaos. It can be chaotic. It can feel like earthquakes rumbling under you. Everything gets shattered. The old game goes away. It gets put on a shelf, and you become a new you. You live a new way. This isn't, none of us could have predicted how this was going to be because none of us have done it before. Okay. And it takes more courage than you can possibly understand what you're doing. Going from one game to a completely new game. I wish that every single one of you could feel who you are inside that physicality, can understand and feel what you have been doing, whether off planet or on planet. Because if you could tap into that, if you could remember that, if you could see that, if you could feel that, you would give yourself a break. You would honor yourself. You would take yourself out to dinners and a massage and whatever you want. You would be telling yourself what all of these beings around us are always telling us that we can't necessarily hear, which is good freaking job. Way to go. Keep going. Give yourself more love. You're a rock star. You have done nothing wrong, no matter what Akashic record you've experienced, whether that's abuse that you've given to somebody, abuse that you've received, traumas that you've had, traumas that you've given to somebody. It doesn't matter what it is. It's all viewed in this game through duality, which means that it's right, wrong, good, and bad. From a much higher perspective, it just is. It just is. And when you step into this new game, you see it that way. And in between these two games, the quote unquote marathon, right? Even though this isn't the end and you're not going anywhere in terms of we're on a race. No, it's just a metaphor. It's all happening in the now. It's all happening in the body. It's all happening in your sovereign field. Okay. It's all happening in the quantum, but for the sake of their analogies, here we are, 2 games. And here you are running the marathon, so to speak. And how dare us judge this process? It's asinine when you think about it. I get it because we are consumed still in 3D consciousness. If you are experiencing duality, you're still in 3D consciousness. There is nothing wrong with that. Just know that. If you're judging yourself, that's duality. It's okay. Just be aware of it. If you knew with 100% certainty that you're going to be playing this new game, how would you be in your now? Ask yourself that. If you knew with 100% certainty that you were going to be in this new game, new timeline, new way of being, with 100% certainty, it was an absolute fact, no matter what, how would you be in your now? How would you see your now? All your experiences, everything. And that is how you want to start to view your now moments, because that will take the pressure off of you. Because at the end of the day, the only thing you need to do is have awareness from a higher perspective of what you're going through, and to love the freak out of yourself as you do. If you can do those two things, ascension is going to be a little bit easier. The two things are remembering what you're doing here. Remember, you're looking at it. I'm a light being in a human form experiencing a game that is coming to an end, that is filled with a 3D consciousness and density that just is. This is just how consciousness exists. I've been in it. I've been playing in it. I played the game. Now I'm moving into this other game, into this other field, into this other way of being. Some of us are already there. And two, I'm going to love myself as I'm going through it. That's it. I'm going to love myself as I'm going through it. I'm going to love myself as I'm going through it. I'm not going to sit on the sidelines when I get hurt and just quit. I'm going to love myself. If I am still stuck, there's no such thing as stuck, right? You're always moving. You feel stuck, but you're not stuck. You're always moving. But if you're in a moment where you're feeling stuck in something, stuck in a situation, stuck in a reality that you don't like, stuck in a now moment that you don't like, whatever it may be, can you see this? Can you know this with 100% certainty? And whatever is coming up in the now is allowing you to do this. Somebody wrote me the other day and they were devastated because these really horrific things had just happened. And horrific is a term and it's all relative, but these really horrible things happened. You know, they got divorced and they lost their children, and these things happened that, and this game is really terrifying and traumatic. From my perspective, from how I see it, not necessarily how this person sees it, but how I saw it was, holy shit, they just rattled your life because you are a courageous being of light that is here to do massive work on the earth plane, whether you know it or not, and you are designed to shift here. And this had to rattle in order to allow you to shift. I don't know why. I don't pretend to know why, but that's what happened. But the person going through it can't necessarily see that yet, right? They're in trauma. They're in PTSD. They're in like shock mode. They're feeling all the emotions of that experience. They're feeling all the thoughts from that experience. And when you're in that experience, it can be very challenging to step out and see the bigger picture, but I invite you to try. Everything as a light worker and a way shower and a starseed and any other word you want to use, volunteer, I don't care. Everything that is happening to you right now, everything that is happening to you right now is moving you into this new game where you will find larger love, more expanded joy, freedom, experiences that we have not necessarily had yet that are waiting for us. Many people call this the new earth, but the new earth is just going to keep going into new fields, right? I'm not a big fan of that word, but a lot of people call it the new earth, right? All it is being in a new game, in a new matrix with new rules of how consciousness exists and what you get to experience in that consciousness. So here is somebody that's going through trauma. Can they love themselves? Can they see that this is for their highest good? Very challenging, but can they? She's a light worker. She's a way shower. She's been on the earth plane many, many times. And as uncomfortable and as painful as that experience is and was, it is going to allow her higher self is with her. Her guides are with her. Her family of light is with her. And this opportunity is going to assist her in catapulting her over to this game faster if she allows it. If she doesn't stay stuck on the sidelines, dwelling in the victim mentality that we can do sometimes. This happened to me, poor me, I'm a victim, I don't know why, What do I do? No, right? No, 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 no. Bigger picture, bigger picture, bigger picture. Wait a second. I can still have the emotions. I can still not enjoy them, right? I don't necessarily like feeling loss and loneliness and pain and sadness and whatever may come up emotionally that's in this field, in this game. But can I also, at the same time, be the observer and recognize what's happening? And recognize. I am being asked, I am being pushed into the new game. And I get to have all of the human journey of it, all the human experience. I get to have it all. And can I love myself through that? There's so many layers of you. You are not just that which you are experiencing and feeling. You can actually jump out of that while you're still feeling it and love yourself while you're feeling it. That's freedom. That's surrender. That allows for suffering to stop. You still feel it, but you love yourself as you're feeling it. You understand it. When we start having that perspective, this person will flow into this so much faster. So much faster. You don't deny the human experience. You don't deny this game. I'm not playing this game. I'm not playing this game, but you're standing in the game. You might as well play in it because you're standing in it, right? Don't deny the game. Don't pretend you're in this game when you're not in the game yet. You can't fake frequency. And there's nothing wrong with any of it. It's all part of the journey. It's a beautiful, beautiful mirage. It's all part. It all plays a part. So when you're playing in this 3D game that we've been playing in for a very long time, allow yourself to have the anger, the rage, whatever it is. Don't judge it. Judging that, right? Judging it is allowing you to stay in it. Feeling it doesn't make you stay in it. Say that again. Just because you're feeling and experiencing this game doesn't mean you're stuck and staying in it. Judging it, making it wrong, beating yourself up, that keeps you stewed in it, like sitting on the sidelines and not running. When you allow yourself to just have this beautiful human experience in this 3D game without judgment, you allow yourself to move through it. Oh, this is what's happening. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm experiencing. I know what's happening here, and I'm going here into this new game, and I'm learning how to be in this new game by being here before I'm here. So how can I practice? I don't beat myself up and judge my experience. It's not my fault. You're beating yourself up and judging yourself when you have no choice. You're here. You're going to be here. You got to practice. And you can do all of the shifting out of and sort of bypassing that you want. But you have to allow your frequency to move you. It's the frequency. It's ascension, which is energy shifting. It's the energy that's going to shift you here and the awareness of what's happening. The ego can't shift you over to New Earth. The ego can't shift you over here. The ego wants to. The ego is, oh, say these mantras and you'll shift, or do these activities and you're going to shift, right? Controlling it. The ego controls this. There's no controlling ascension. It's energy shifting, and it's you observing it and loving yourself through all of it without trying to control it, which is very challenging because as humans in this other game, this older 3D game, we like to control. It feels comfortable controlling. And so we control the ascension process. And that's where you get this bonk, bonk, ping pong, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But I want to be here, but you're here. But I want to be here, but you're here. I don't want to be here. I want to be here. I want to be here, right? I don't want to be in this place. I want to be in this place. I want to be in this place. This place is so great. Your frequency isn't there yet. Are you going to beat yourself up? Or are you just going to flow with where you are in love, practicing how to be in the higher states until your body is in that higher state? That's how it works. Nothing wrong with controlling it and trying to control it and doing all these things that assist you in moving into this new game. But if your body's not vibrating there yet, you're still going to be in a different space. The ego is going to want you in one space. The body's going to tell you where you are. You can't deny the body. You can't deny the physicality. You can't deny the frequency that the body holds as much as you want to. And I guarantee you, all of you have tried to control it, right? We've all tried to increase our frequency. And maybe it's worked for a little bit. But the ego and the mind can't control the energy, the frequency of your body. It just can't. It's natural. Right? We can feel as we're increasing our own vibration, meaning the body's increasing its vibration. You can feel the resonance increasing on the earth plane. There's certain days where it's like, oh my God, the energy is so intense, right? And that's your body soaking up that light, soaking up that energy and shifting frequencies. You aren't doing it. You being the ego personality, you're not in charge of that. You're not saying, okay, I'm going to sit and I'm now going to pull the light in and I'm now going to assimilate it and acclimate it and anchor it down. You wouldn't even know how to do that. It's not your job. Your job is to start to be the observer. Your job is to remember all the different aspects of you. Your job is to practice being in these higher states. Your job is to practice being in this new game, even when you're not yet, and loving yourself when you're not. The biggest joke in the universe, the biggest joke of the ascension process is the simplicity of it, which is love. If we just all loved every moment, which is very challenging, and every now that we are experiencing, just forget about everybody else, just your sovereign space. If you just loved it as the observer and was like, good job, keep going. You're a rock star, keep going, keep going, keep going. Awesome, keep going. We would be ascending in a much more accelerated rate. But we're learning. Nothing wrong with that. We're learning. We're learning how. We've been programmed in this other game to not love ourselves. That's like a really hard thing to get into and start to tap into and to be and to feel and to experience. Right? So these are all messages of bringing awareness to it, bringing awareness to your human journey, bringing awareness to the duality and the judgments, and in those dualities and judgments, not judging it. Allowing yourself to play in the game that you're still in, no matter what, and not judging it. There's nothing wrong with being in wherever you are. That would be like saying everybody's running their marathon and someone's slower than you, right? And they're going to be like, oh, they suck. They're a terrible runner. They should just stop the race and just go sit down because they're still at mile 3 and I'm at mile 10. I'm better than them. They've got issues and problems because they're still at mile 3. You would never say that to somebody that's running a marathon. You would cheer them on. You would say, oh my God, keep going. I know it seems tough. I know you're only on mile 3. You have no idea how much longer you have. God forbid I tell you, right? You would cheer them on. So if you're still playing in a denser game, in a 3D game with whatever you're experiencing, can you cheer yourself on? You're a rock star. You're still stuck in that job you hate. It's okay. You're a freaking rock star. You came down into the physical form. You're doing the best you can. And trust me, young lady or young man, you're going to be in this new game. Trust me. Trust me. Stay focused on what you know to be truth, which is that you're a being of light in physical form, agreeing to come down and volunteer and be the light worker, way shower, and starseed, and any other word you want to use. And no matter what, you're moving into this new game. Call it whatever you want. Watch how your life shifts. You breathe, you soften. Holy shit, there's nothing I have to do. The only thing you have to do is know that you're shifting out of it. And you will feel when it is time. You will know that it is time when you are not beating yourself up, when you are not berating yourself, when you are not getting angry with yourself, but instead you are loving the human journey that you're in without duality, without judgment. I should be, I shouldn't be. And when you find yourself in, I should be, I shouldn't be, this sucks, I hate this, blah, 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 can you step back and be the observer of that piece of you, that human aspect of you? It's okay, you're okay. It's okay, you're okay. It's not your fault, you're playing the game. None of this is anyone's fault. There's no fault. You're in a matrix. You're in a field of consciousness that holds specific ways of being, and you are waking up to that, which is a shock to the system. And the more you wake up, the more you are shocked. And the more you remember, the more you want to rush. The harder it is to be in that density. The more you remember, the more you wake up, the harder it is to be in that density that you don't want to be in anymore, because you are remembering, you're waking up, you're experiencing and feeling the higher realms. And so because we may, or you may, or all of us may, whoever is in that 3D game still, those ways of being are going to take over. Control, trying to force yourself out of it, trying to figure out ways to increase your vibration and increase your field and all these things, which only create suffering. And I'll explain that. If you're trying to increase your frequency, if you're trying to increase things, if you're trying to get out of things, if you're trying to stop things, if you're trying to control anything here, and you do or do not succeed, it's only for a spurting, a moment in time, because the body's not there yet. It's the ego trying to get there. So it's only a split second of time. I don't even know what the word I'm trying to use. Fleeting moment, right? And so the suffering comes when you're back here. Holy shit, how did I get back here? That's the suffering. Well, you tried to move yourself into a place that your body's not vibrating at yet. All you have to do is just stay where you are and love that space. If you know that the body naturally is shifting for you, and you will feel it moving. You will know when it's time to leave the relationship. You will know when it's time to leave the job. You will know when it's time to move. You will know all these things because you're going to feel it in your body as it turns on, as it gets activated, right? DNA gets activated as the light gets more increased in the physical form. And sometimes you will get a kick in the butt, like a divorce or a separation or somebody leaving you, or losing your job, or losing your home, or getting injured pretty badly, right? These things will kick it into gear, and it'll be a catalyst to propel you. For whatever reason, based on your own unique journey. Because when you surrender and love this, there's no fear. What stops us from loving? What stops us from feeling? What stops us from experiencing? What stops us from trusting? What stops us from surrendering is fear. I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid to do this. I'm afraid of the guidance I'm getting. I'm afraid of what may or may not come. Of fear, right? Lots of fear, which is in this game. But when you love the game, when you shower the game with love, when you shower your experience with love, guess what happens? Fear subsides. Because you remember there's nothing to be afraid of. It's all for my highest good always. There's nothing to be afraid of. Fear is a consciousness that gets played in this game that I'm in, that my physical form is still standing in. Although my physical form is shifting, I may still be feeling fears. Fears is a consciousness. Fear's not real. And fear stops us from flowing and surrendering to all that is presented to us. All that is presented to us. We hold back. We're afraid. Right? The person running the marathon, they may start to get nervous or scared because they are not sure if they can do it. Oh my God, I'm being told by my guides to just keep going, but I am exhausted. I don't know if I can. They want me to turn this corner and go up this hill. I don't know if I can do that. I'm exhausted. How am I going to get up that hill? But they're telling me to get up that hill, but I don't want to go up the hill. Okay, well, chill out for a little bit. You're eventually going to get up the damn hill. In the meantime, can you just love yourself as you're sitting on the side of the road waiting to get up the hill? Right? We are all stepping into these higher realms, not by choice, even though you could say it's by choice, it's by vibration. The body is moving us into these higher realms. The body is moving me into feeling and opening my heart more. I didn't practice every day to open my heart, and then all of a sudden my heart opened. I allowed my body to show me how it opens that heart center. It's not to say that there's anything wrong with practicing it over and over and over and over again. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is that's ego, which is fine. And it allows you to experience an open heart and all of that. It's beautiful. But when you start to allow the body to show you where you're at, when you start to allow the body's vibration to just guide you along and say, hey, you forgot about this place. What's this place? This is the heart. Holy shit, that's the heart center? Yeah. Oh my God, wait a second. Whoa, I can actually love myself right now? Yeah, try it out. Okay, thanks. Instead of me trying to love myself, trying to sit and open my heart, I never did that. I didn't try to do any of it because I didn't feel it. I didn't feel like practicing opening my heart. Why? Because I wasn't vibrating in that field yet. I wasn't vibrating there. My body was like doing other things, showing me other things, activating other things. And then all of a sudden, my body moved into this vibration where I can just feel it. The body leads us through ascension. The ego tries to. And if you can allow the body to just lead you, there's a lot less suffering and struggle. It's challenging and it's really hard. And it's a paradigm that most people don't live under. We live in paradigms in the spiritual community where, and there's nothing wrong with this. It's beautiful. It works. But there's a lot of paradigms in the spiritual community where you learn ways of being, like you learn how to do it. You practice how to do it, which is totally good. It's fine. But if you can even take a backseat to that and just allow the body to tell you, which requires you to be in the body, you won't suffer as much. You won't struggle because there's nothing to do. You're just allowing the body to tell you what's next, where to explore, what to feel, how to feel, but you've got to be in the body. You can't do this without being in the body. Otherwise, you're not going to feel anything. And then you're going to try to control it with the ego. The body's ascending. You as a being of light are already in a higher state of consciousness. You're constantly holding higher states of consciousness in the body. The body is constantly acclimating, assimilating, and anchoring it. And as it does that, that light opens up more DNA, more light codes, and then you experience your reality differently. There's nothing to do but learn in the now how to be in whatever state you're in, whatever consciousness you're in, whatever frequency you're in, whatever you're experiencing. And how do you know that? You're in your body. You're feeling everything, which again, think about it. If you're feeling everything, you're feeling everything. You're feeling all of the everythings, all the emotions, the thoughts, the beliefs, the paradigms, the programs, the addictions, the traumas, the whatever. You're feeling it all because you're also feeling the higher frequencies, the heart opening, massive amounts of love you're starting to feel. You're hearing, your channel is open, right? Because you're in the body. You're starting to hear things. You're starting to see things. Why? Because the third eye is opening. Not because you did anything, but because your body is increasing its frequency. And when it does that, these things start to open. We don't have to really do much. Not a paradigm we like to live in, but it is true. Not easy to consume and to hold as a reality, but it is true. And they want me to remind you there's nothing wrong with learning and practicing and reading and all the beautiful things that we have at our fingertips. Nothing wrong with it. It prepares you. Oh, I understand. This is what I'm now feeling. And I understand that because I learned it through these things, right? But you can't force your journey. You can't force yourself to run faster than you're running. You can't run 5.6 minute miles if your body only wants to run a 10-minute mile. You can't. It's impossible. It's the same thing with the ascension. You can't shift yourself into something that you're not yet vibrating at. And therein lies the suffering in ascension. We beat ourselves up. When all we need to do is just say, my body's got it. What's going on? Let me feel today. Let me get in my body today. What's my resonance? What's my vibrational frequency and tone? Because it's always going up and down. It's not about being an empath. An empath is just another word for saying that you can feel a lot. And it's not a bad thing. It's just learning how to feel it, to honor it, to know that it's your sovereign field and you're turning on and you're feeling everything and it's not yours. It's just you being a being of light, walking around, feeling it all. And the other thing they want me to bring up are children that are awakening right now. Many of you have children that are awakening. Many of you have children that are stuck in physical forms. Many of you have children that are in this game, the 4D game, the 5D game, in a physical form, and yet they're stuck dealing with a reality or a group that is still in a 3D game, so they don't fit. And it's very, very challenging. And so your job is, if you have these children, your job is to allow them to be who they are. Your job is to honor all of their experience. Your job is to not throw duality into their reality. Your job is to see them through the eyes of your light being that you are, not the 3D human you may be standing in. That's your job as a parent. It's to let them be, even if it doesn't conform to this old 3D game. See, what is happening to many of us in our relationships is that we are moving into a new game, and many of our closest friends and family are not yet. And so, holy shit, it's real sticky, right? Because you're not going to force yourself to stay in a 3D game. So you've got these children that people call autistic, and the spectrum of the Asperger's, that whole spectrum, right? You've got kids that have been labeled OCD or ADD, whatever those crazy words are, right? And in this game, that label equals those behaviors. In this game, it equals a higher being of consciousness in physical form that doesn't conform or play in this field. It doesn't play in this game. It doesn't know how to play in this game. It just doesn't. And yet it's being forced to. And it's torture. It's being forced to play in this game. So these children have different ways of being. They don't believe all the shit that we used to believe, right? They don't play in it. So people call them, what is it? If you conform, it's a good thing. And if you're not conforming to everything, then you are, I don't know the word but it's like they're not, whatever, polite or whatever the word is that I'm not able to find. So as a parent, if you are having this experience, what they want you to understand is that to see them in this different game and to remind them that they are playing a different game and it's okay, that their game is okay. They don't want to harm themselves or others, because there's a lot of anger and rage that can be experienced when they are being forced into a game that doesn't make sense to them, that doesn't vibrate with them. So you remind them that they're okay, that everything is correct, how they're thinking and feeling and being and wanting. And use the analogy if you want, or any analogy you want. And a lot of people that are going into psychotic breaks, that are having psychosis, that are having bipolar breaks, that are all these things that are happening, they are shifting fast. So they're jumping into a new game very, very quickly. And the body, whatever shit, usually a lot of times something that is not necessarily natural will catapult them into a different frequency, and the body isn't able to catch up yet. And then they get catapulted into a psychotic state or into bipolar or something. So they may be trying to do something to bring themselves into a higher state, trying drugs or ayahuasca, or I don't know, maybe just sitting in a really deep meditation. I don't know what it could be. But a lot of times what happens is that the human is trying to bring themselves into these higher frequencies and higher states through the ego before the physical form is ready, and then there's a psychotic break. The mind and ego can't function. Literally, there's too much light. It shuts down. It short circuits. And when you short circuit the mind, you go cuckoo. You can lose your mind. You're short circuiting it. It's all energy. The body is not ready yet. So we have to be very, very gentle. So a lot of people that are having this, it's not their fault. They're not crazy. They just increase the frequency in their form through the egoic structure, trying to, making it sometimes for many, and the body wasn't ready. They will move, they will even out, right? They'll even out. But it's a massive experience that's happening, they're saying, for a lot of humans right now. They think they're going crazy. They're not. They're not going crazy. They are either consciously or unconsciously, they jolted into a higher frequency when the body wasn't ready, and it short-circuited. I don't know why that came up, those two things about the children and the psychosis and stuff, but apparently they wanted me to share it. So anyway, you guys, it's over an hour, and there you go. We are amazing. You are amazing. You are phenomenal. Wherever you are, whatever you're experiencing, whatever you're going through, I don't care. You're amazing. You courageously chose to jump down into this. You courageously chose to go first. You courageously chose the life that you experienced, and you're courageously waking up out of it. It's huge. Massive. You deserve a pat on the back. You deserve a freaking parade down your street with a banner that has your name on it that says, way to go. You're awesome. You're rocking it. Keep going. T-shirts. People could wear T-shirts that says, your name on it. You're a rock star. Thank you for being the way shower. You're a rock star. Thank you for being keep going. Don't give up. Keep going. Don't give up. Love yourself more. Love yourself more. Love yourself more. Love your journey. Love all of it. Loving yourself through it will move you through it. What I was trying to say. If you have children and people are calling them these dualistic words like defiant, not conforming, not doing the rules, it's a tough place to be, but they're never going to conform. They're being defiant just means that they don't fit this anymore. They never did. And they deserve to fit in the game that they're playing, which is the game that we're going to be moving into. I think that's it. Okay. I'm going to end on that. And for all of you that are here that were on the Patreon live, that got cut off, I'm so sorry. It was an amazing journey. I think you guys got about 20, maybe 26 minutes of it. But we will have another one next month in January. So they will come back in. Anyway, you guys, thank you for being here. I love you all so much. Thank you for being a part of this community on YouTube. Thank you for being in your physical forms at this time. and volunteering to drop down in, whether you remember that or not, you did. And have a little bit more love for yourself, more compassion for yourself. Remember what's happening here. Game 1, game 2, and then more games, right? And you are moving through it, stepping into this. And all of the in between is everything we're going through in every now. Okay. I am going to jump off. I can't connect to the chat for some reason. So I'll see you guys on another live. A couple more days, and then we jump into 2020. 2020 vision, clarity. The more clear we are, the more clarity we have on this journey, the easier it gets. Okay. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Mwah.